Hello, I'm Dr. William Schlosser of Washington State University School of the Environment. This is my classroom. One of the most repeated scenes captured at Kamiak Butte is deer walking and eating. We capture these through our camera trap points and in all times of the year. At Kamiak Butte, we see both mule deer, Odocoileus hemiones, variety hemiones, and their ancestral niche partners, white-tailed deer, Odocoileus virginianus. Today, I will take you for a stroll into the issue of birthing fawns within this butte located in the western interior woodlands and shrublands biome. I challenge you to consider the commonly known stereotypes we believe and understand about these deer. Keep watching the date shown on these videos, year, month, day, and time. I put them all into chronological order as we travel. We have a unique opportunity at Kamiak Butte County Park because we have both deer species, plus other ungulates like Rocky Mountain elk, Cervus canadensis nelsoni, and Shirasi moose, Alsus shirasi. Our stroll investigates several issues we can observe and analyze. I begin by looking not only at the birthing event, but further back, as we consider the autumn breeding season. This is seen as doe deer enter estrus, and the bucks in sync enter the rut. We will consider these events and causes to bring them about. Keep your mind attuned to the biological events which cause estrus to begin as a response within this restrictive environment. Watch and consider how deer of different species developed their population-specific strategies. Back up the calendar to consider when breeding happens. Breeding is timed to occur when adequate nutrition is available for mothers and offspring following birth. Because the diet of deer is 100% plant-based, fawns are typically born in the spring when lush vegetation is high in nutrients. We examined weather and climate, looking specifically at times when the minimum temperature within the most recent 24 hours was above 40 degrees Fahrenheit, 4 degrees Celsius, and moisture was available, allowing plant photosynthesis. This is when plants start to grow. It is also when the ungulates begin to give birth. Timing is critical. This ensures that enough food is available for the doe to produce milk for the fawn and thus increases the chances of survival. For this to happen, deer have been conditioned to back up the calendar to use the day length to determine when breeding should occur. Both white-tailed deer and mule deer are short day breeders. Breeding occurs in the fall when day length is declining. This generally does not happen on the shortest daylight period of the year. It happens before that, oftentimes weeks before the shortest daylight day. How do these deer calculate that? Well, when daylight is decreasing, increased melatonin is released from the pineal gland in the brain. This starts a cascade of hormonal events that induce estrus in does and the rut in males. This is the signal for the reproductive system to awaken and breeding to begin. Doe deer are polyestrous, meaning they can come into heat multiple times within the breeding season, usually in 28-day intervals. This mechanism increases the chances that the species with superior genetics survives another year. If the doe does not conceive in her first heat, she will then cycle 28 days later to offer another opportunity to become pregnant. Teleport to 10 October 2021 on the south-facing aspect. This family group of doe deer are traversing the butte as a loosely grouped band of doe deer. Of course, they are eating as they walk. They all seem to eat on the walk. Look at the lead doe deer. She is sniffing and holds her tail high. She is spreading some pheromones to announce that she has entered estrus. The other doe deer on the walk are sniffing as well. This is early in the morning, just about 07:45 hours. This is not a search only for food. We come back to the same site about 20 minutes later. During this time of year, does often visit scrapes, a cleared area on the forest floor made by a male deer during breeding season. Does release pheromones, and glands in their hind legs also release scent. This allows the buck to find the doe and breed. The lead doe deer comes back to sniff this interesting sight, and she follows the smell of pheromones. Watch her sniff the place where a predecessor dropped some odors. It might have been a doe, and our guide masks it over with more of her own. She lifts her tail to spread her special and fresh smell. She sniffs the air and keeps her head held high, looking for a mate. This odor might have been made by a buck who also smelled the previous doe. He marked this location to claim his presence on this site. At the same site almost a month later, and this seems to be a different doe deer. Ah, there is the scent follower. This is a young buck who picked up on the pheromone lead. He has spike antlers, leading me to believe he is in his first mature year of breeding. His jaws are open and he breathes hard. Here he comes, and there she is. Reproductive cycles are genetically engineered by native species as they develop adaptive responses to their restrictive environments. Each gene change delivering host advantages will be passed from one generation to the next. Do that successfully, and your species, which reproduces annually, will realize benefits annually, within a quinquennium, a decade, or hundreds of years. This marks the metapopulation species benefits. We are watching a band of doe deer with our attention on this closest one. Look behind her. There is another doe. Look behind her and see how she is spreading her pheromones to mark her presence. She is in estrus too, and this is the end of October. This white-tailed doe deer is in estrus, and this is the beginning of November. She sees the infrared camera light and looks intently at it. You can even see her eyes reflected in the camera lens. Wow, this is interesting, but she walks to a spot where scent is laid out. She marks it with some more of her own. She walks to spread scent from the 4 interdigital glands between the toes of each hoof. The gland is a small sac that exudes cheesy, yellowish fluid with an odor like sour milk. Do you think that odor attracts anyone? It attracted what looks like another doe, but this nighttime vision I would miss a spike antler. That deer's performance does not look like it is seeking a mating event. This deer is different. He comes only a few minutes later. Take a good look at the calendar. This is the beginning of November, and if this mating event is successful, she will gestate for 201 days. Count those days and she will give birth on Tuesday, 24 May 2022. Of course, based on the calendar, I assume she missed her first estrus cycle, or maybe this is her first attempt this year. We will see if she carries after this attempt. 21 November, and this doe is in estrus. She evidently missed the mating success marker and came in heat again. Look for how this species interacts where these camera traps are established. This is a level of bias we introduced. Obviously, we only get images from the places where we established the camera traps. They were all established where we felt the chances were the highest to capture animal movements. Well, it looks like it worked in the open areas of the south-facing aspect where we captured mule deer courting, and on this north-facing aspect area where we see white-tailed deer courting in the forests. Site selection is a form of sampling bias. Recognize what we do and how it impacts our results. We watched the time when doe deer move into estrus and the bucks enter the rut. You may recall the deer talk video as we listened to bucks grunt announcing their approach to does. Reproductive cycles are genetically engineered by the species as they develop adaptive responses to their restrictive environments. Little gene changes that deliver advantages to the host will be passed from one generation to the next. Species successfully breeding annually will see changes each year, each quinquennium, decade, or centuries of years, and they will mark benefits within their metapopulations. All species benefit by increasing chances of successful offspring while furthering superior genetics. To increase survival, nutrition must be available to support young animals and the mother's ability to produce milk. It all pivots around support for fawn success. During this time of year, does often visit scrapes, a cleared area on the forest floor made by a male deer during breeding season. Does release pheromones, and glands from their hind legs also release scent. This allows the buck to find the doe and breed. The buck's reproductive system also is awakened by decreasing day length. During this time, melatonin is released in the buck's brain to trigger an increased testosterone production from the testicles. This testosterone release hardens the antlers and gives the buck secondary sex characteristics, such as swollen neck, and allows for production of mature sperm. After the antlers have hardened, the buck seeks to breed a doe. Typically, when a doe is in heat, the buck will remain with her for 48 to 72 hours until she is no longer receptive to breeding. During this time, he will keep her separated from other males and females to give him a better chance of producing offspring. Deer of both species at Kamiak Butte are serially polygynous. One buck mates with many does. Most adult does will eventually be bred every year. But it could be perilous in that the does may be bred later than their first estrus, becoming part of the metapopulation's breeding synchronization. Adaptations include the ability to thrive even when the cycle does not completely mesh. Unsynchronous mating and fawning reduces risks of all fawns being born at the same time. Watch the buck's tail turn up and know he is spraying his urine scent. This is the calling card to announce his presence in this zone. This is where others will come to look up who is here. Now, an experienced 4x4 buck enters the site. He smells that little spike buck's scent, so he is taking a stand in a big buck way. Now, his scent is sprayed and he marks his territory. He did it with urine, and he dispatched his interdigital gland scent from between his toes. His cheesy, yellowish fluid with an odor similar to sour milk is now marked on this trail. It is the middle of November, and he seems to mark the height of his rut on Kamiak Butte. He even comes back to this site after half an hour, just to make sure he is still marked here. We keep tracking white-tailed buck deer in these forested areas near the crest of the butte. This buck is unique to this show, but I want you to see this traditional salute these buck deer make. It is the lifted tail flagging and breeding success personality. That is the rut salute offered for everyone to see and smell. I take this discussion back to the far northern extent of the butte. We are still looking at white-tailed deer, and these scenes all happen in the middle of November 2021. Right away, we see this 2-point buck at 0222. He is panting and wagging that stiff tail. He is on the ticket, and he has intimately met with a doe already on this early morning. One success does not mean he is done for the day. He keeps sniffing and rushes off to his next encounter. He circles back just to make sure his mark can still be smelled. Evidently, this shows full rut activity in November and December, with doe deer entering their possible second estrus 28 days later. Well, we watched as these deer increase activity at night. They are not only sliding around in the dark, and that may be affected by this butte being a Whitman County Park. They are a bit shy of dancing for people to watch. We are a few hundred feet away from the other cameras we have watched already, still on the far north areas of the butte, and still watching white-tailed deer. Look at their behavior as they stand off in the main trail areas. Doe deer have laid their paths through this interdigital hoof glands, and the bucks have done the same. We see several candidates passing through this path. Watch this steadfast doe standing to look into the forest. She puts her head down, but there is nothing to feed on here. She is smelling the calling cards left by her compatriots. Some others come into the mix. Bucks answering the estrus announcement. Large, mature bucks are entering the scene. They are busy. They get to work. Watch as some pass by with open mouths and even a peaked tail. Then at 1:59 hours, this young buck answers the call by this seemingly mature doe. Yep, they are fulfilling the call of nature. Wow, no pregnancy test needed here. I would call a delivery date may be set for 7 June 2022. She is done, but he is left standing alone, catching his breath and stomping his hoof. Get ready, you may need to follow your instincts. We teleport through time and space. We moved into spring 2022 and flew to the south-facing aspect on the west side of the butte. We are looking at mule deer now. Most videos we watched as we entered the rut and estrus periods started with mule deer on the south-facing aspect, then transported to the white-tailed deer on the north side. Those buck grunts, stomps, and markings were all captured on camera traps on the north-facing aspect. This may be another case of sampling bias. We did not place the camera traps where they would show the mating activities of mule deer as much as we did to capture the same for the white-tailed deer. Remember, all these camera traps were placed on obviously used game trails. This placement captured white-tailed deer activities during the breeding season. It may be a habit of mule deer to seek other locations for their population's mating acts. We are back on the north-facing aspect to watch white-tailed doe deer. As I look at her, I see pregnancy glowing in all the right places. We will see other pregnant white-tailed doe deer activities, but we will not see any white-tailed deer fawns. We will see mule deer fawns on these camera traps. It is again a sampling bias effect. We do not have cameras located where white-tailed doe deer give birth and raise their fawns. White-tailed deer may seek hidden spots where traffic is minimal to raise their young. Our next pregnant white-tailed doe deer gives another view of interesting evidence. She is feeding on these scrumptious grasses and forbs, making sure her arsenal of nutrition is feeding those growing embryos. She pauses at just the right time, and we can see her swollen udder. About 1 to 2 weeks before birth, the udder begins to swell. Deer are not dairy goats and will not make quarts of milk. However, this is large for a deer, and the view tells me her time will arrive within the week. Hormonal changes during pregnancy cause a doe's behavior to change dramatically. Doe deer are normally tolerant of other deer, particularly during winter, but a week or more before giving birth, she becomes intolerant of other deer, including her own young fawns from last year. Before giving birth, she isolates herself in a small fawning territory and drives away all other deer that intrude. This is away from the high traffic areas common for our camera traps. It is not uncommon to see yearling bucks and does wandering around alone, or with other yearlings, who likewise have been driven away by their mother. For young males, this separation may be permanent, but yearling does likely will rejoin their mothers later in the summer. We can see these doe deer are moving in separation from all other deer. Now, something new happened. It is 14 June, and this mule deer doe is taking a walk with a sunken abdomen. Right behind her comes 2 fawns. Oh, wow! These are the first little ones captured on these camera traps. Look quickly at the calendar and count back 203 days or 29 weeks. This puts conception on 30 November 2021. This puts the mule deer and white-tailed deer on a synchronous breeding season schedule. These fawns can stand within 10 minutes after birth and can walk within 7 hours. They will nurse right away. Her legs are still a bit shaky, but their lives will be spent walking day and night. Not all doe deer have given birth yet. Others are still seeking the right places for their maternity ward. Notice her abdomen and the swelling we know is pending delivery. I check my perceptions of doe deer and their fawns as I watch this video capture. I have believed a doe deer will leave their fawns alone and unprotected for many hours of each day. Fawns are without odor, they are camouflaged, and doe deer separation from the young ones is a protection against predators. This is a different doe than we saw with the new fawns on 14 June. Her ears target sounds, and she returns to her single fawn. This little one was born within the past 2 days and has ability to walk and nurse. This doe left the little one alone, but did not separate from it for long. This is happening along a major game trail where other animals frequently traverse. This may be the habit of mule deer to get their fawns familiar with managing activities in traffic zones. Recognize, we see no white-tailed deer fawns still, but we are seeing mule deer fawns and doe deer. I have not seen any buck deer appear in this maternity ward. I think they have been ushered away. We do see another white-tailed doe deer seeking a birthing spot. Although we see the mule deer does and fawns, it seems the white-tailed doe deer seek a location not far from where the mule deer select to give birth. Their microsite selection seeks different site attributes. It is obvious our camera trap zones do not mesh with white-tailed deer maternity rooms. On the other hand, 2 white-tailed deer fawns could be bedded down under any of the shrubs seen on this screen, and we would not know anything about it. Here we go again. This is a new mule deer doe with twin fawns. We saw another doe with twin fawns on 14 June, but these are fresh hatchlings, still learning their legs. Separated by only a couple minutes, and this doe with a single fawn passes by. This one seems to be a little older, sure-hoofed and spry. This may be the same doe and fawn we saw on 16 June. I think we know this lady. She looks to be the same white-tailed deer with the enlarged udder. It looks to me as if she has given birth, probably recently. My assumption is for her fawns to be hiding somewhere close by. She walks away to distract from her presence. No smell, camouflaged, and patient. Contrast the white-tailed doe deer's performance with this mule deer doe. While the former walked away from the point of interest, this one stands out in the center of the opening, along a well-used trail and listens. Her ears are the radar of this sensory collector. They live with those big ears, able to target any sound in stereo or individually. Their nose is long and able to smell any scent for identification. We have talked about their diplomatic vision and heightened night sight. She stands in the open to attract any potential foes. Now, seeing none, the little one comes out. This is the same pair we looked at just earlier in the day on this same spot. Several hours later, and this pair comes out again. The fawn is interested in this green plant, but keeps attention on mother's guidance. Look at this habit. Walk, pay attention, keep mouth closed, unless you mean it. Just like that, they cross through the same path in reverse. This is a well-used highway. A new set of mule deer twins are passing through. Separated by only 20 minutes, and they look to be a different set of twins. They are all walking the path, learning the value of activity. Busy day. This set of twins with their mother leading is reversing the flow. Then the other set of twins passes the same path direction. There is a rhythm to this theme. Yes, here is another set of mule deer twins passing on the next day on the same trail. I just swapped camera trap locations, and this captures more of the daily movements by these families. Same camera trap location, still with a mule deer doe. Something caught her attention. Look at the targeting of those ears. Is this a problem? She gives no indication other than her focused attention. We see her twin fawns, and they see her. It is feeding time. They take turns and fill their little tummies. This is a unique video when you watch this and consider that other animals pass through on this trail. We have seen turkeys, other deer, some elk, and even a couple moose passing across this path. For the mule deer doe, this is not a problem. She is teaching her fawns the value of living under the presence of distractions. That currently feeding fawn is really getting the most out of this nursing time. We know this only child mule deer fawn. Look how much maturity it has taken on. It no longer only follows its mother. Now it gets out in the lead, and is sure hoofed in how it gets around. Only 8 minutes later, and this doe with twins passes through. They are meeting on the trail, passing by and trading notes. This mother doe takes a pause in the opening, and something seems off. Well, she makes a retreat decision. Everyone follows her lead. Maybe this is another life survival lesson for her kids to know when to follow the leader. Well, this is a new entry for this community. Look at those weak legs and how it gingerly takes steps. I think this is a new fawn, born maybe on this day. If we look back up the calendar again, we can jump from 25 June to count back 29 weeks to estimate conception on 1 December. Well, that would fit the estrus and rut activities we saw on this site. Floating into the evening, and we see another mule deer doe, who I think is still pregnant. She is looking for the right spot. Pay attention to the structure of her head and neck. She looks distinctive. All right, 4 hours later, and here she is again. It's the same head and neck. Her ears tell me who she is. Something is different in her abdomen. Ah, there it is. She has a baby. Look how it walks, what its motivations are. This little one will stay next to Mama. Sure, our little twins are out on their own, leading without a mother. It lasts only until Big Opening invites them in. We better check who has our backs. Now we see our newest born fawn again. They walked between these camera trap sites and follow the well-known trails. Recognize how they keep moving, walking together. Mama is feeding, and her fawns pester for a milk meal. Healthy fawns average 4 to 8 pounds at birth, and they will double that weight in approximately 2 weeks. They survive entirely on their mother's milk during those first 2 weeks. Then rumination begins in their stomachs, and they begin to supplement their milk diet with forage. They will triple their birth weight within a month of age. Just a day has passed, and we are still in the dark of the night. This is a different mule deer doe than we watched 24 hours ago. We see a youngish fawn who has learned how to be aggressive and how it gets a meal. Seriously, this little one is working for it. A sibling walks into the pitch. This one likes the idea of getting a meal too. Watch the reactions of their mother. Here is an interesting tidbit of information. Newborn fawns lack the ability to urinate or defecate. While nursing, the doe will lick their rectal and genital regions to stimulate them to release their wastes. This doe will then consume the urine and feces, so their odors do not attract predators. Now that's a responsible mother. The doe will continue this behavior for at least 2 to 3 weeks. A newborn's inability to expel these wastes, coupled with the mother's protective behavior of consuming their waste, undoubtedly serves countless fawns from predation. This may be the same troop we watched at this camera trap 14 hours ago. Maybe not. These fawns look to be about the same size and behave in a similar way. Weaning is not an instant switch, but a gradual process in which the fawn consumes less milk over time while eating more green forage. Fawns can be completely weaned and survive without milk by 10 weeks of age, or 2.5 months. But doe deer often wean them at 12 to 16 weeks, or 3 to 4 months. If you watched the Deer Talk video I put forward not long ago, you will know the swizzle sound I referenced specifically for the mule deer doe and fawns. Listen. There it is. That was a call sent out by the fawn to call out to its mother. There were about a dozen swizzles sent out over the period of 25 seconds. It is a call out to get together. It works every time. Just 4 hours later, same site, and we see a set of twins now familiar to the site. The doe waits as she enters the site, slowly walks through. She is joined by her twins, and I want you to see how much they have grown and developed. It is 29 June, and these may be the fawns born on 14 June, making them about 2 weeks old. I would not call them overly confident, but they are not the wobbly-legged babies we saw before. The second fawn even tries stotting. That habit will develop in time. This is an interesting view to make. This mule deer doe is still pregnant. We stand on 29 June and know that to back up the calendar 29 weeks, through 203 days, we reach 8 December, to be the day when conception for this doe could have happened. Maybe later. This defines possible challenges of the fawn's life. Fawns born too late may not achieve favorable physical site fatness necessary to survive the hardships of winter. With good nutrition as defined by habitat and weather, fawns born a few weeks late will catch up with earlier compatriots. However, in the wild, overbrowsing, poor nutrition, and density stress generally go together. Well, neither of these doe deer who still carry their young are beyond the expected gestation period. There is still time for successful fawning for them all. I guess they hear our concerns. We have a new single fawn born on this early morning. This lady gave birth to twins not long ago, and these little fawns are learning how to wobbly walk on these sprouting legs. Well, looking good. I think we are watching the double fawn set born a couple of nights ago. We are back on this familiar camera trap site to watch this mule deer doe still trying to deliver her package of joy. This scene delivers a special message. We watch this little one getting on the ticket to give a traditional mule deer stotting hop. Looking good. This is one of the twins born within the last week. From some distance behind comes her mother. Seems that maybe she is intimidated by the near-infrared illumination this camera uses. She walks around it. Several seconds later, the second twin catches up. The message I took from this activity is how the fawns are each comfortable being alone, knowing their mother is not far away. It is understood that fawns will not bed down together when they are still young. They are taught to separate their presence and not attract predatory attention. I watched these interchanges to recognize how the mother doe will set examples for their fawns to replicate. Pause, turn only the head, and use your ears to target your full attention. Look for movement, but give no indication that you move. No vocalizations unless you need me to come over. Remember, everyone with ears will hear. It seems these deer spend a lot of time walking the same trail in all directions. Their odor is established on these trails, mixed in with many other deer too. This is not a path where individuals can be easily identified. They are all intermixed. See the fawns occasionally wander off the path, then come back. Look for and see the fawn on the right side of this screen. This is the doe who gave birth to triplets. She is standing here for a reason. It is to show patience, the value of silence even when standing in the open. She scans the area using her head and ears. She hears the missing two fawns of her crew. She stands as a shield to guide the safe entry for her fawns. Here they are. She knew they were coming. They did not panic. Our little only child fawn is still learning how to use those legs in this beautiful forest. Move in the light. Pause in the shadows. These are lessons of deer life. Remember to keep moving and know where you go. Same site, same family. Walking back on the same path just 20 hours later. Think about the value of walking this path. Reason it out. Why keep walking the same path every day? Figure out the lesson being taught. Interesting to see them moving in the middle of the night along the same trail. I see the markings of this doe's face and think it is the same one we have been watching for a few days. Just a couple hours later and on the same site, and this doe is still looking for her delivery time to arrive. You can see her swollen abdomen, right? I think she feels it too. By the looks of the calendar, she was bred in mid-December. It is time to deliver. Well, speaking of pending deliveries, I think we have one here as well. She is looking into the bushes, as if it were a white-tailed doe. Well, she'll find the place and time. It is all up to her. "7 hours later, and one of our family units passes through. The lead fawn is walking gingerly on those legs, still building strength as its sibling has found. Look at that one fly. Starting with style. Those fawns are learning the value of mobilization. Next morning, different doe with twins. I feel like I have spent a lot of time watching these deer, as I think I have them named and identified based on posture, color, and blemishes. What is she watching? Something has her attention, and those fawns distance themselves from mom. Consider why they did this. There is a reason, and the mother may be the decoy to distract attention from those fawns. I remember this lady. She is the mother of the single child who sticks near mother. Same family, only a day later. Stotting still looks like a hop, but time will make it right. Recognize the differences of how these fawns move with their mothers. Their confidence increases. They explore more. Investigation happens with comfort in day and night. This is how they are learning to act and react in the environment where they live. Yeah, we know this, doe. Watch the need for speed those fawns demonstrate. This is where they learn comfort in their actions. In the rainbow shine you see the doe, then a sleeting shot of the fawn learning how to fly. This is one of our twin fawn families, still walking in the night. It is 12 July, and these fawns have been with us since about 1 July, making them only 11 days old. Still, they do not browse. Their mother captures their feces and urine to keep their scent hidden. Some of the wanderings take a fresh path. I think this fawn is having fun. I wonder if this fawn is getting a different upbringing from the families with 2 or 3 fawns. Think about that one. Consider what you see right here. I roll this scenery back a year to see this white-tailed deer fawn on the same sites. Those spots are beginning to fade, and obviously they are amble. Exploration is easy for this little one, even without its mother. Still back to the summer of 2021, and we see mule deer and white-tailed deer on the same site and within a week of each other. They are not avoiding each other. They are not getting together either. They just exist in the same community. These fawns are all about 2 months old, and they are browsing on green bushes. Much changed in the lives of these deer from the changing of daylight in the fall and their melatonin surges, the estrus cycles, rutting, and then entry of winter. In the spring, we found some great moisture levels to sprout green meals. Consider the different approaches to raising these fawns. We saw mule deer mothers with the fawns every day and night, walking together, exploring, and never really separating for long. They take an active role in the early weeks of the fawns' lives. White-tailed deer have a different approach and did not frequent the camera trap areas we used. We did not see a lot of white-tailed deer doe activity when their fawns were building their legs. They took their mothering activities to a different, less visible arena. Their approach is not bad, it is just different than the scenes we captured. These ungulates sprang to life, and we watched as mule deer mothers took their matriarchal role to teach movement, silence, listening, and comfortable independence. Singles, twins, and triplets all captured the flavor of life.